Introduction to the Hampshire Community Development Program. Hampshire is a community of 150,000 and is located in the industrial section of the coal-rich state of Lincoln. Hampshire has doubled its population during the past 20 years due to the influx of the industry following the war. Much of this population explosion has been Southern European immigrants, Mexican immigrant farm workers looking for stable working conditions, and an increasingly large group of Southern blacks who are drawn to industrial jobs in the North. You were chosen executive director 2 years ago when the former executive director, a retired state legislator native of Hampshire, was suddenly paralyzed by a stroke. He had been in the position only 11 months and had been the first executive director for CDP during its initial struggles. You are black. You were raised in New York and come from a West Indian background of genteel, if relatively poor, parents who believed strongly in education. You have a BA from Syracuse University in psychology and an MA from CCNY in urban studies. You had planned to go on for a doctorate, but your wife became pregnant. Your advisor at CCNY heard about this opening in the CDP agency in Hampshire and suggested that you go for an interview. Although you were better qualified than other applicants, you were also the only black interviewed, and you were well aware that your color was a deciding factor in their offering you the position. You accepted the position with some reluctance, but you decided that practical experience in your field would be valuable. You now plan to stay a third year before returning to school. Your wife has accepted a teaching position, and most of her salary will be saved to enable you to return to graduate school full-time. You spent 4 years in the Air Force between your BA and MA, and you are now 31 years old. Information about your personnel director and your director of research and planning are included in the following section. Other members of the staff include 2 social workers, 4 secretaries, and a general staff of 3. You also employ 2 nursery school supervisors, a thrift shop manager, 3 recreation directors, 6 assistant recreation directors, and the usual staffing for youth centers. Today is Saturday. You have just returned from a CDP directors conference in Washington, and while stopping by for your mail, you decide to clean up your in-basket in preparation for what you know will be an exhausting week. Your secretary, Minnie, is in the outer office, but no other staff member is about. Key personnel of HCDP. Secretary to the Executive Director, Minnie Brown. She is an inheritance from the former Executive Director and is extremely valuable to you because of her Hampshire background and her knowledge of CDP history. She is a 57-year-old widow with a wit as sharp as her secretarial skills and has always made you very comfortable in dealing with her. Personnel Director, William H. Stanley. He is 46, married with 2 children in high school. His wife's maiden name was Hampshire, but all that remains of her formerly wealthy background is expensive tastes. Stanley came to Hampshire to join his uncle's law firm, but neglected his practice to keep up with the social world he was rushed into as a promising young bachelor. 2 disastrous campaigns for state legislator and the death of his uncle finally led him to working as a tax accountant until he was hired by CDP. Stanley is reasonably effective in his job, but has a great need for ego satisfaction. He was sure that he would be appointed executive director and had, in fact, taken over on his own volition for the 3-month period between executive directors. Planning and Research Director, Angelina Angel Snowell. She is 38 and unmarried. She has a BA in Sociology from Union State College in Wheelwright, Lincoln. She also has 16 hours of graduate credit in social work, which was completed during summers and evenings. Before her present position, she had been the assistant manager of a shoe store, where she had worked during the summers of her undergraduate days. Her real interest, however, was working for her church, the Pentecostal Tabernacle, and for the UMCA as a volunteer youth organizer. Her satisfactions from this volunteer work came through the self-appointed social work that she performed with Black and Mexican teenagers. She was well known in Hampshire for her success with molding street gangs into productive project clubs. She feels some frustration in that her position does not allow her to work closely with the people involved in CDP programs. Okay,
Number 1.
in-basket item number 1. Dear Mr. Harris, you'll probably think it's funny getting a letter from a guy in prison, but Reverend Phillips, our chaplain, said it was worth a try. I've served 3.5 years on a 10-year sentence for armed robbery and am about to be put on parole. I was only in the car with the guys that done it, but we all got busted, and I guess it was my good luck as well as bad luck to go to prison. Reverend Phillips got a hold of me right after I got here and really showed me how to put myself together. I'd really known I was headed for the wrong way in high school when Angelina Snowell, who I heard works for you, was down at the Y all the time getting the guys together to do projects. She really knew what she was talking about, even the religion part. But I was too stubborn to let myself be talked into it. Anyway, I've grown up a lot in the last 3 years and a half, and I think I would now like to work with the kids in the way Angelina did, and maybe show them how to get more out of their lives than prison. I've been a trustee for 2 years and have been in charge of basketball, baseball, and swimming here. I know all about handling equipment and how to run things for recreation. I'm asking you to consider me for a job with HCDP when I get out. If you need any recreation people, I guess there's nothing I'd rather do and could do a better job at. Yours truly. So, what do you think about hiring?
Whoever that was.
Yeah.
What was it to do exactly? Where can he use that?
Work with the kids.
Yeah, he wants to work with the kids like in a recreation based.
I say yes.
Why?
A, because he is in prison, so he can like really speak to the kids. He has experience in the past. He knows Angela, who also works the company, and if she doesn't say anything bad about him, then I don't know why you wouldn't give him the job. He seems like a perfect role model for the kids. Not role model, but person to talk to.
I think the only thing is that like,
How old are the kids?
yeah, and like, are their parents gonna want them to be around a guy that's just out of prison?
Plus, I think we're already hiring a bunch of guys who are already doing the job he wants to do, right? I think we have like 2 or 3 like child recreation guys in flip back, yeah.
Yeah, so we already have 3 recreation directors, 6 assistant recreation directors, and the usual staffing for youth centers.
Well, even that, I think that's even more reason to hire him because he's someone different than those people.
Yeah. I think that,
Or if you guys are still unclear about him, we can just ask Angelina about him.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the best path is to ask Angelina.
See what sort of reference she can have.
Yeah. Because if she doesn't have a good reference, then
Yeah,
it's not, yeah.
Okay.
Alright,
So is that a decision?
I think that is our decision.
Speak
Ask
with-
Angelina
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and see what she says.
okay. In basket item number 2.
Going back to like the old one, I think asking Angelina is like, I feel she's too immature to make a decision. Like obviously her interests are too religious based, and I feel like we're not religious oriented. So asking her is like obviously a biased opinion. She's always gonna be like, oh, this guy's out of prison. He probably learned a lot out of his life, and we should give him a second chance. That's what people at church are all about.
Well, I
Well, she doesn't
think,
make the decision. She just has to give us a good reference.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
you mean like a characteristic?
Yeah, she's not
Yeah.
going to decide if he's hired or not.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
she needs to be like a character reference for him since she knew him back when he was younger.
Mhm.
Because if, obviously it said he was in the wrong way, but if she saw something that like,
And I mean, if she gave a good reference and it turned out badly, that would look bad on her behalf as well.
Yeah.
So we're just looking to her so that she can give us more insight into him as a person.
right, before we
Makes
can
sense.
make a decision. Alright, in basket item number 2, Standard Wholesale Foods Inc., 1850 Central Hampshire, Lincoln. Okay. We go hog for our customers. Dear Mr. Harris, as a man who has a vital interest in the progress of Hampshire, I want to express my admiration for the fine work you and your staff are doing for the unfortunate segment of our population who suffer the heavy load of poverty. Believe me, as a man who came to this country at age 12 with nothing in my pockets but $1 American and my mother's picture, I can appreciate how much your program must mean to these people. I've been proud to be part of your hot lunch program, by supplying you with the most nourishing food at reasonable and wholesale prices as you would find anywhere in this country. By me, I get the pleasure of contributing something worthwhile, while at the same time increasing my volume of sales. I would like the opportunity of expressing my thanks to you in the best way an old neighborhood grocer knows how. Please drop by my office and pick up a nice Virginia ham for you and your wife. Sincerely yours, Abe Strauss. How sweet of Abe. Wow.
But what are we really meant to decide for this one?
Yeah.
Well, I
We
think,
can write back to him.
yeah, I think we
Oh,
definitely
we gotta
need to
write
write
back
back to him and just say,
I don't like
we really appreciate that we don't like him. Say we really
Please send us a
appreciate his
box
help,
of
right?
chocolates
Yeah.
instead.
And that we'll swing by.
Okay, so does that mean we actually have to write the letter?
Yeah, I think we have
Is
to.
it- Is it
That's
professional
what it
though?
says.
I mean,
Do not tell
I
what
think
you
you have
would
to
do
thank him for
if
being
you
part
would
of
choose
the
to write a
program.
letter to Mr. Brown about his, actually write the letter and
Yeah.
sign your name to it.
Okay, so what does our letter want to say?
First off, I would thank him for being part of the hot lunch program.
Dear Mr. Strauss,
Yep, you have been a valuable asset to the hot lunch program,
okay,
and we appreciate your supply at a reasonable price to the community.
okay, and we appreciate your
Contributions.
to our community.
Yeah. And then we can be like,
Like, I'll try my best to stop by your office and pick up that ham you offered.
but that
I
seems
know.
kind of like
We
maybe I'll come
definitely
around.
should. We
I
have
think
to.
Yeah.
I would go. I would be
He's
like,
offering a
yeah.
hand. You can't see
Yeah.
the first.
Alright.
so be like, thank you very much for the offer. I will be sure to be there or something like that.
Yeah. Thank you for offering
Yeah.
to provide my family with a lovely ham.
Oh, it sounds like
I
a
will be
date for you.
sure.
Thank you.
I'll be sure to stop by at the beginning of this next week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yours truly. What is our name? Mr. Harris.
Yeah.
Mr. Harris. Okay, and then we definitely need to get the information to Minnie so that she can look at our schedule, right?
She's like our personal assistant.
She's our secretary, yeah?
Sounds good.
We know that.
Alright, number 2 good?
Yep. Sorted.
In basket item number 3. This is from Hampshire House Mercantile, the oldest and finest department store. Alright, dear sir, we understand you employ a Mr. William H. Stanley as your personnel director. We feel you should call Mr. Stanley's attention to the fact that his account with Hampshire House is severely in errors. There have been no payments of any amount paid to us since May 12, 1988. It is now 1993. At that time, we informed Mr. Stanley that any further changes to his account would not be authorized. In the past 2 months, Mrs. Stanley has made 3 unauthorized charge purchases totaling $473. This brings our account to $2,356.23, or $1,356.23 over the maximum authorization. As the Stanleys and Mrs. Stanley's family have been steady customers since the store was established, we have hesitated to embarrass them by taking the obvious steps. However, we feel that we have gone beyond our capacity to accept further neglect of this financial responsibility. If this substantial payment is not made by August 1st, 1988, we will be forced to turn over the account to a collection agency. Thank you for your cooperation. Yours truly, Monroe J. Rebels.
So is this guy making these purchases in on behalf of our company?
I don't think
I don't think so. I think
It's
these
more
are
like
personal
So I mean, why would the letter come to us?
Well,
Yeah.
just because the Stanleys are a big family in the area, so.
But I don't know why he sent it to his boss. Surely
It
that's
shouldn't
more
have
embarrassing.
gone. Yeah, I don't think that it should have gone to us.
Yeah, I don't know.
First, I would talk to Stanley.
Yeah, I would just ask him. I mean, his side.
Yeah, his side of the story. And I would ask whoever sent this email why. I mean, they kind of explained why
Yeah.
it took 5 years. Like they said, they went over their, but I mean that's a really long time. So I would look into that.
I was also thinking that like maybe we should just send this back, like email back to these people and just be like as Mr. Stanley's like boss, I don't know that there's much we can do. I believe like this is something because unless Stanley is filing for bankruptcy or something, then there's nothing that this like credit agency can do to get money from us because they're not asking for us to like give them his paycheck.
And if it's a personal account,
Yeah.
not a business account, then I don't know why it's going to his boss.
So yeah, I would first call Stanley in and show him the email and see what he has to say.
Okay. So do you think we should like write back a letter to these guys?
I think we should
No.
wait.
I don't think we should write it.
Yeah, I think if it's gonna get handled, it should be handled by Stanley.
Because if you write back to them, it's almost like you're saying
charge.
keep me out of this,
Right.
you know. But I mean, there's a reason why he wrote a letter to us because he thinks that
We're the ones
we
in
probably
charge.
can help them in some way.
Yeah.
And like we're like a community based group, so we can't be like, you know, we want nothing to do with this because the whole image of our like company is community based.
Right. It's just not like our
Mm-hmm.
account, so that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
confused. But if we bring in Stanley and like show this to him and just be like, yo dude, like this is what we got to figure out, like you need to address this somehow.
Mhm.
And then maybe write a letter to them just saying that we've spoken to them, but that all further communication should go between
I don't
us
think
and
like
them.
Stanley will listen to us, but look at Stanley's description. He's competing for our job. Like Stanley was, I think he was pretty confident he was going to get promoted until we kind of put our toes inside and squeezed him out. So
We have to do something though. We can't just not.
Yeah, we can't
Yeah, I
just
mean-
not address it.
yeah. So I feel like when we're dealing with Stanley, it has to be pretty like discreet. It can't be embarrassing for him because it says he has an ego problem.
But yeah, I mean, you just bring him to the office, just
Yeah.
us and Stanley,
Mm-hmm.
and just personally face to face talk to him about it.
Right.
Yeah. If anything, that would work better because he's embarrassed or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely talk to Stanley, and then if necessary in the future, we can address these guys.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anything
So
else?
assuming Stanley says, I'm just out of money, and what do you say? I'm just doing this because there was no other way for me to like get stuff. What do we do?
I mean, that's something we
Well, he
deal
might
with.
not want to admit
later.
that, so maybe we can just, when we talk to him, not in a confrontational manner, but more like, do you need help? Kind of thing.
Because this guy's pretty old. He's like 46. He's married. He has 2 kids. There's a high chance he'll just confess. Be like, hey man, I got no money. I didn't expect this letter to come. I thought they would just kind of let it pass because we've been customers for so long.
I feel like he's got too much pride to do that though.
You
Yeah.
think so?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And even if he did, like, I think then
Then
at that
we could-
point we just would have to point him in our best direction for like these are the people that we know of that can like help you out.
Yeah.
But it's on him. Like this
Yeah.
isn't anything that like we can do at this point other than just like talk to him and pass his problems off.
Yeah, I think if it comes to that, like, we should try to like keep his image off of our corporation because we don't want to come across in the future to people lending us money as people who just kind of default on our lendings. Just because like one guy who's like top of our organization, if he like
I think
goes
that's a
bankrupt.
personal thing though again, so I think
Mhm.
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
If someone in your company, like an employee, goes bankrupt or whatever, that's not
Uh-huh.
a bad reflection on the company, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying we should lend money to him in any way. I'm just saying, yeah, you guys are right.
Yeah. It's a personal matter, but we definitely need to address it with him so that
Mm-hmm.
it gets resolved.
Agreed.
Anything else on Stanley?
So we're not writing a letter or anything, so we just kind
We
of
just need to schedule an appointment with.
Stanley, so
Secretary.
yeah.
So do we have to ask our secretary or something to say, call this person in? Or
Yeah, to just call Stanley in and set up a meeting so we can discuss this.
Cool.
Alright, and basket item number 4. Dear Sir, I'm writing as a concerned Catholic mother. My son Anthony and my daughter Anna attend your recreation center on 8th Avenue after school and for the Saturday night dances. Many of my friends' children from the St. Francis Parish also attend, and they are behind me writing this letter. We feel that the recreation center idea is fine because it gives our children a place to go without running in the streets, which is important to parents of teenagers. But what we want to know is why your recreation director, Mr. Glassing, and your assistant director, Ms. Borden, as well as 2 pin setters in the bowling alley and the girl who is the snack bar waitress, all have come from the Pentecostal Tabernacle Church. We know for a fact these people invite our children to their church groups and even to Sunday school. Miss Borden asked my daughter if she was saved. The parents of St. Francis Parish call that religious bias, and even though there aren't as many Catholics who go to the recreation center as Protestants, we understood that CDP was trying to help minority groups, not to force them under the influence of holy rollers. The Catholic parents of St. Francis Parish are asking that our civil rights of religious freedom be given to our children. Leave religion out of your recreation program and also who you hire to work there. Canton Catholic girls serve hot dogs and cokes as well as a Pentecostal tabernacle girl. Sincerely yours.
Well,
I think that they have like a valid point in terms of like our employees definitely should not be addressing religion with the children that come in.
Mhm.
But at the same time,
do we know of our like hiring practices?
Yeah.
right, we don't know,
Like who knows? Like they might be hired just because they're qualified.
right, that they're the most qualified.
And
So who's in
coincidentally,
charge
they're
of
from the
hiring?
Pentecostal church.
But we don't know that
Oh, the
information.
Oh, it's not on this?
No. But also, like, you know, it could be that, like, Angelina is bringing in people that she knows,
That's like
just sort of saying, like, hey, like, I know of this opening position that we're having, why don't you come apply?
That's probably what happened to the guy for prison.
Well, right, but I think that we should write back to them and say, like, we're very sorry for your experiences here. Like, we will make sure to remind all employees that religion should stay out of the, like, discussion with children.
But then at the same time, we don't want to be like with her. It's basically saying do not hire Protestants,
Right.
but that's not
Right.
the message
No.
we want to get
Yeah,
across.
just saying like Catholic girls serve hot dogs. That's still bringing religion into it as well.
Yeah.
So I think we should emphasize that we hire based on, like, qualifications.
Yeah.
Abilities,
Yeah, rather than, their religious background.
I mean, we should look at if we had an email like this in the past or an incident like this.
That's
like, if it's a
true.
repeating thing, then we should take it more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so send
I
an email
think-
back to
yeah.
whoever wrote this, and then talk to Angela and see what
So
she
what
says.
we write saying,
So
Yeah.
we apologize
Well,
for.
we're sorry.
I feel like that's not enough because once you ask a kid like, have you been saved? There's no way to say sorry.
But she's not asking us to do anything like directly though. She's just kind of pointing out to us like what
Yeah,
happened.
we just want to, like, ensure customers that, like, this wasn't our intention ever.
But what if tomorrow the same thing happens at like an Islamist couple, and then the parents like show up, and then like we
Well,
be in
so
serious
that's-
trouble, right?
That's
We
why
just
we
have
need to create, like, a training system that's more of, like,
Do not.
like, religion stays out of it. Like,
Yeah.
we need to express to her that, like, in all of our future trainings, we will, like, emphasize that religion should not be a factor. Okay. So sorry. No, we don't know her
Lady.
name.
So- Do you guys think we need to find out how so many people from the same church ended up here in the first place?
Well,
We can. Well.
Like, is it a coincidence, or is there something fishy in like our hiring departments that so many people ended up in here the same kind of from the same church?
so
Well, it could just be because our town has a bigger
yeah, 'cause
Protestant
Mhm.
population than Catholic.
it does say that, like,
Could be coincidental.
that, where does it say this? Even though there aren't as many Catholics who go to the recreation center as Protestants. So it could just be that, like, Protestant children who are growing up at the recreation center then apply for the jobs at the recreation center.
Mm-hmm.
So although I think it's, like,
Makes sense.
worthwhile to look into, I think for, like you said, if this is a reoccurring
Mhm.
incident, then we should look into it more. But for right now, it's just more like damage control.
Yeah, make this person happy.
Yeah. Okay, write our letter, y'all.
Dear concerned Catholic mother.
Okay. It's like a ask Ann. We are deeply sorry.
For your children's experience with our employees. We will look into the matter.
Immediately.
I think you should mention how the comment about if she was saved wasn't acceptable. Maybe.
Mhm.
Might
Yeah.
have
Be like, we understand
acknowledge it.
your concern with exposing your children to religions that you might not be comfortable with,
Mhm.
as the recreational facility is not where this happens, maybe.
Okay. So this is not like
Yeah,
But
our
also,
standard,
yeah.
this is not our job.
and we will be emphasizing it to our employees in the future.
Yeah, we will conduct an investigation into our organization to see if this is a recurring incident, and we'll take appropriate measures. So
To resolve the issue, that's all I think that needs to be said.
yeah.
And then just in terms of our hiring, we want to ensure that we hire based on like skill
Yeah.
rather than religion. Okay.
But we're not sure about that, right? That's like making
Well,
stuff up.
but
I mean, we can.
there's
buy
no way for us to know that from this exercise, so I think it's
Yeah.
just important to go along with what we would do. We have to fill in the blanks.
Makes sense.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
Basket item number 5, memorandum of call. Mr. Harris was called by Dan Thompson. Chief of Police, please call. Okay. Left this message. The old grafter wants to set a trap for some pot pushers he thinks are hanging around the McGeorge St. Recreation Center. Wants to plant young detectives among the kids. Also has a kid who's going to point them out.
No.
Well,
Yeah, so you call this guy back and say no.
That would just lose all trust with all the kids that went to the recreation centre.
Exactly.
And no one would go there anymore. They would just go and take their drugs elsewhere.
Yeah.
So you mean
But-
lose trust in what way?
Well, they wouldn't trust anyone that's running it if they're going to just let detectives run around with the kids pretending to be one of them.
Yeah.
Like, if
But
they
I
found
mean,
out
trust
about
shouldn't be an issue because we're not like promoting this or anywhere, right? I mean, we want to be enforcing a no drug policy in our recreation.
that. Not, yeah, but not in that way, I
I'm
don't think.
wondering.
I don't think we should
Slide.
trick the kids into
No.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we can call back and say like,
is there another way that we can?
or just like, is there a way for us to do some internal investigation before, like,
Yeah.
we go this route as we don't want to like lose trust.
Or
of
could
our
we say like
employees.
we hold workshops about drugs and not using drugs, etc. as well? Could be another way instead of just kind of turning them over to the police.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so like doing our own internal investigations and like making sure that we're promoting like anti-drug policies and drug safety in our recreation center before like losing trust of these kids.
Yeah.
It's super desperate there to the point where they want to put like spies inside.
Yeah.
like last option.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
So these
I mean, we
kids,
can ask them.
the kid spies, they're like,
I mean, we
their
also have
parents
the
are
rights.
okay with them spying on like weed dealers.
well the kids aren't. They're putting in like young detectives who look like teenagers. Like into the recreation center. Like 21 Jump Street.
Mhm.
That's what they're doing. But before we go that far, I think it's something that we could at least try and solve internally.
And ask them.
But I feel like we shouldn't lose traction and take it lightly just because, like, as a recreation center, if people are coming here, their parents trust that we're not feeding them cocaine. So we should be, strict about our policies.
Right.
And
Yeah.
something we're not willing to step down upon or something we're not willing to take lightly.
Yeah.
Because the community trusts us with all of this.
I think you want to be careful though because you're trying to kind of rehabilitate these kids and like give them a life off the streets, not kind of
Yeah.
push them out onto the street with their drugs because they're gonna do what they want anyway.
I think saying a way to like do both would be to say that like after doing our internal investigation, like with whatever we find, we will make sure that we like prosecute these people to like the correct.
Or you could say
Levels.
they were getting told like a zero tolerance policy,
Yeah.
and say like if anyone's caught with drugs, then they'll be immediately not allowed back in. Or
What
something.
if we open up like an anonymous forum where like kids can
Well, I mean, so this is all this is asking is, so I think he wants to meet with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we call him in, see what he has to say. I mean, if the message is really short, so we let him
Yeah,
talk, see what he has to say.
Obviously, this is what he's gonna say when we meet him.
Yeah.
Be like, I want to put kids in.
But he also wants to point a kid out, so he also has a name.
Also has a kid who's going to.
Who's a kid?
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. There's no name.
So yeah, but he'll
Unless
tell
you
us
got
in the
this from
meeting.
somewhere, yeah.
So we meet with him, see what he has to say. Say we're definitely not going to do this. I'm not going to
At
put
least as a
detective.
first step.
Yeah, and see what he has to say, and if any other solutions, we will preferably do those first.
Okay. So just talk to
Schedule.
Minnie and schedule an appointment.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And
Wait, what was it said if you want to write a letter, you do it. Whose example was it? The first page.
You want
We
to?
should get going.
Teenager trash removal project. Okay, we haven't completed the first one.
Okay, number 6. Lamar. Harold Turkman came in to see me today and offered us all his new old exercise equipment from the Bavarian Spa and Gym that folded a few months ago. Naturally, he wants it to use as a tax write-off. We could use this stuff for the basement gym we're setting up in the old PS 47 grade school. Marion Jackson would also like a couple things for a slim gym class. I don't know if you want to deal with Turkman, of course, whatever you decide. I told him it would come officially from you.
Who's this
So,
from?
based
Yeah,
on
do you know Turkman at all?
So it's for free? Or
Yeah,
based
he
on-
wants to use it as a tax write-off, so he wants to donate it.
So that means would it mean you would take it back later?
No.
Okay.
No, he just donates it and then he gets to write it off as a charitable donation on his taxes.
I think it's good because it sounds like we have uses for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see a reason why
And
we wouldn't.
Angelina made it sound as if like we were
Yeah, it
dealing
seems like
with
she makes it
before.
sound like something's fishy.
I don't know if you want to deal with what.
Like,
Oh, you mean maybe she means like he's gonna use this as leverage for a favor or something.
No, I just think like maybe they don't get along very well. I don't know, it's like it's too much to read into.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we like our best bet is just to like discuss talk to Angela when we see her next and just say like thanks for the heads up, I'll give Turkman a call.
Should we tell Angela to?
No, she
respond
said
back?
whatever you decide. I told him it would come officially from you.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
We have
basically,
to say
So
it.
yeah, so we can give Turkman a call and we
just
should
follow up
probably
with her.
yeah, we should probably check out all the old exercise equipment, make sure it's like
Save.
Use
yeah. And then go with that.
Cool.
Number 7.
7A and 7B.
Oh goodness. Alright, well we can do it. We got like 15
What does this mean?
minutes.
The Bavarian sponge that folded a few months ago. What does that mean?
And that means
Close
that it
down.
closed, so they don't have a use for it anymore.
So why do you think it closed?
We don't know, we can't run into that. 7A. Mr. Harris. Mr. Glenn Otis, our distinguished advisory board president, came by here yesterday with this ugly little piece from the evening paper and asked you to field it. He has received at least a dozen phone calls about it since yesterday morning and is more than a little disturbed about it. This jonquil character is a frustrated social climber and general bad mouth concerning any Republican administration, but he is also fairly well known and respected enough to make things uncomfortable for us with this letter. Minnie.
Okay.
So this is the letter. It is my unfortunate duty as a citizen of Hampshire, a city of unusual integrity, to alert the good people who make this their home that once again we have been plundered by one of the devious, greedy organizations who ask our money in the name of Christian charity and then line their own pockets, neglecting those who are alleged to be helping. Such an organization is CDP, yet another attempt by the government to pacify the underprivileged and allow our consciences to rest, while the true plight of poverty-stricken and alienated minority is muffled back by the backslapping, self-satisfied and administrators of so-called programs. True, it is a government-supported organization and therefore gleans our money through taxes. However, we are still, in the end, being fleeced of our charitable contributions. We are not so naive as to miss the fact that the federal government spends wastefully, particularly on such worthwhile schemes as CDP. What has CDP done with this bountiful gift of Hampshire taxpayers' hard-earned money? Has it built teenage centers in which would be the pride of this community with every possible piece of equipment and physical facility? Has it provided new classrooms for its Head Start program and hired the finest, best qualified teachers? Has it even drawn from our local supply of qualified men to make its administrators, men who know and understand the problems to be faced in Hampshire? The answer is no to all points. A brief visit to any of the recreation centers will reveal that they have been converted from other buildings probably long since condemned, such as the old PS 47 grade school, and are supplied with makeshift equipment and questionable people such as staff.
Like prisoners.
Certainly, the children in Head Start should get a better place of learning than the creamery basement or the unused corners of Jefferson Junior High. And who are they hiring to assist these children in learning? Not my wife, for example, a college graduate with 2 years of elementary school experience. No citizens, the assistant at the Creamery Head Start program is a woman who had an 8th grade education and has been on welfare before she was hired. Her lack of qualifications is certainly no fault of hers, but they do give CDP an opportunity to pay a much smaller salary to her than they would to my wife. All this is run not by a local man, but by an import from New York with a fancy education who they thought would look good in this job because of his race. Surely he has no personal interest in Hampshire. Truly, the assistant directors are local men, or at least they've lived here for a few years. Of course, one is too busy at cocktail parties to take time to understand those not in his social set. His wife, by the way, has never dressed better. The usual method of milking our tax dollars is through the kickbacks from local contractors and wholesale suppliers. I do not have the information at this time to indicate exactly how it is being done, but we must conclude that large amounts of government money are not finding their way to the minority groups CDP is supposed to serve, but to the pockets of CDP administrators. Neighbors of Hampshire, are we again too apathetic to root out these spoilers of tax money? Wake up and write your congressman, Hector Jonquil, CPA.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything we can do. right?
Well,
I mean,
we can release a press statement.
he's salty, but
I
He's
think
super salty, and I think he's pretty burnt from the fact that his wife.
but
I think you could like invite him in for a day and use
No way! You think you'd invite this guy in?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Try and win him
okay,
over.
first of
But
all,
he's like he has a history of doing this all the time.
Yeah.
So he's not.
But you've got to at least try.
See,
you can't just
when-
like
When you try to invite this guy in, it looks like you're actually taking money and you're trying to like solve it, like shut this guy down so that he doesn't say
No,
anything.
no,
but
no,
just to
no,
show
no.
how good you're doing.
Yeah, we're just like
say, I
inviting
think
him
it's
to come shadow for a day and
Yeah.
just like actually seeing the
But
internal workings.
he's seen it. I mean, he like
Yeah, he's
actually
already seen
describes what's going on and where our facilities are
I
and what they
think
look
at
like.
least showing the offer though is like showing goodwill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay,
not
yeah,
like
we can-
taking him like
we can
I'm
ask him.
pretty sure if
Well-
he put in the offer, this guy's gonna reject it, saying I've seen
Okay,
it now.
but
Yeah,
then
that's
at
not our
least we
problem.
put the
Mhm.
offer,
Yeah,
so
at
at
least
least
we
that
try.
looks
And-
good. And then releasing any sort of like press statement we can do that would just like ensure our community that like maybe we don't hire like the most expensive people, but we hire the people that will most benefit from our
I mean, think about like making a press release that just brings more
yeah.
press towards this.
Like
Yeah,
do you want
I
to
think-
publicly respond to him?
Yeah,
type
I
of
think
thing. 'Cause
faster
it's
it goes
like,
away.
I think it says
Well, this
that
is
it says that
In the Hampshire
he
Chronicle.
has received at least a dozen phone calls about it since yesterday morning.
Yeah.
So I think like
He'll keep writing.
leaving it unmentioned in public is just gonna lead to more phone calls. So I don't think that we should just ignore it, but I also don't think we should address it
Like
directly,
hands-on.
more so
you
just
don't
like
look like defensive either.
Yeah,
'cause
just,
then
like,
it's you are hiding
put out
something.
something to remind the community that like all of the good work we do.
I don't think that's true.
Well,
Because you know, every day, like people are always bad mouthing big corporations. Like every day, somebody or the other is like Amazon is crappy or Microsoft
They
is
don't
crappy.
respond.
But Microsoft doesn't respond and say no. This whatever this guy said, it's wrong. We're not like this. Here's a picture of our office. It's big
But
enough
I
to
mean,
put your
Google and
cat
Amazon,
inside.
they're like in a big city, so
Mhm.
Also, if they get
and
like
this is there.
like if McDonald's, if someone comes to McDonald's and says like I ate this burger and it made me sick, or like whatever,
Mhm.
McDonald's makes a public announcement saying I'm sorry for your like.
But that's because only as a defense, because he's gonna sue them in some way.
Well, no, but it just shows people that like you care enough about the particular person.
Then again, he has many supporters,
Mhm.
so who knows?
Right.
So you feel like we should respond because the nature of our organization is kind of like community based, so we should not.
Yeah, I think that we should just remind our community, not necessarily addressing this, but just remind them that like we are there for them, and if there are any concerns that people have, like please come talk to us, and we can like work them out, and then we should invite this guy to like
Maybe speak to him privately.
Yeah.
Well, we can have like an event, maybe like
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
everyone, the whole community comes and checks everything out, and this guy's invited to that. If he wants to come, he can come. If
that would
not,
be cool.
his problem.
I like that idea.
Then you could publish the event not like directly
Yeah.
related to this.
So what I feel is like this is one guy's kind of super burnt out jealousy written letter. I think we should find
Oh,
out if
that's
the rest
in
of
the
the people
newspaper.
kind of
Yeah, it's in the newspaper. This was
Yeah.
like publicly announced, so like that's why people are getting phone calls. But I like that idea.
Mhm.
Just like giving
Yeah.
an event.
And just inviting him, yeah, rather than
Yeah.
making a whole day just for him. So
Yeah,
giving him
yeah.
satisfaction.
No, just like inviting him to it and allowing people to like express concerns if they have further concerns.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 8.
So we're gonna just call him or we're gonna write him a
No,
letter
no,
or
we're gonna-
like what?
Like an event, and then write him a personal letter, hey, we're making this event where the whole community is invited to look at our facilities and whatnot.
Just like a community day
Yeah.
to like
And that
remind
invitation
people.
as
Like we don't all, at the same time, we don't want him to be, hey, we're making this event just for you.
Mhm. Because that's what it looks like. It looks like
No,
you're
no.
feeding the barking dog for barking.
No, but the thing is because he's already written this on the newspaper
Mhm.
that we're not just addressing him, we're also addressing the people who trust in him now.
Right, and the people who are now potentially concerned. Like we're just having a community day that
Yeah.
reminds people.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Cool.
Number 8, Office of the Mayor, City of Hampshire. Dear Lamar, Millie and I are so pleased that you and Clarissa could make it to our 4th of July gala this year. It has become a real tradition for us in the past 7 years, and we were so disappointed last summer when you had to be out of town. Millie was terribly impressed with all you said about working with CDP. She's very big on causes, you know. She has really taken CDP to her heart since the 4th. I might add that you and Bill Stanley make quite a team. Bill informs us that there will be an opening on the advisory board of CDP beginning in September. I need to tell you that Millie sees that as an ideal way for her to help share in the projects that CDP is accomplishing so well. Of course, her associations with other leading civic groups, etc., could provide a terrific liaison among Hampshirites who take their civic duties seriously and make CDP all the more effective. Bill may have already discussed this with you. I'm sure Sarah has put the bug in her ear since she and Millie are inseparable bridge partners. Let me know what you think that advisory board position is shaping up. You probably have a lot of well-qualified people in mind, but it never hurts to put in a plug for the little woman. She has an awful lot of influence, as discovered during 2 successful mayoral campaigns. Sincerely, John E. Jacobs.
Cronyism. Anyway,
Well, I think we should write back and just say, like,
if you think your wife's qualified, maybe she can send her resume to us.
No, he's a mayor, right? You can't be like send your wife's resume.
Well,
That's
yes,
like
you
losing
definitely
support.
can.
Yeah,
You definitely can.
You
That's
can't
what
just
you
be like,
should
yeah,
do.
she's getting hired.
Yeah.
No, you're not gonna be like she's getting hired, but you can't be like just send in your application. It's like your dad owns the company, and then like I tell you, and your dad's like send an application.
Well, I think you can be like,
Yeah,
thank you
you
very
can
much
do
for
that,
the interest.
Yeah.
We'd love to see her CV, her resume.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it should just be like general, like this guy was. Like, it was really nice to see you on the 4th as well. You know, we love getting together with you guys. I would love to see her resume if she would like to send it over whenever it's convenient for you.
And then at the
We'll
same
take
time,
into
it's also
consideration as well.
true. And
Yeah, we'll take it into consideration.
I mean, picking an advisory board, it's not like a one-person job. It's also
Mhm.
like the whole board member,
Yeah.
like consensus.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can say that on the letter.
I think instead of like asking her to send her resume, we should at least like speak to her in person.
Well, we'll say we'll invite her for an interview and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if she wants to
She
send
goes
her
through the same
resume over,
process as everyone else.
we can invite her in for an interview.
Yeah, sure. With like the whole advisory board. So, right. Letter.
So, do we have anything coming out of her having influence
How much time do
2
you want?
successful
We only
mayoral
got like 5
campaigns?
minutes.
2
2 minutes to finish the last 2.
Oh. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, I think a letter to her, or
What
to
does it
this
mean?
guy, just
Yeah.
being like, it was great to
Yeah.
see you guys.
Yeah,
Please send over
and
a resume,
it would be
we'll
such a
contact
pleasure
her for
to
an
interview
interview.
your wife to see her interests.
Okay, item 9, Benevolent Order of Bohemians, chapter number 14. Dear Sir, as a member of a minority group with the same struggles, hopes, and frustrations as any other minority group, I find it difficult to not resent the fact that Bohemians have been ignored by such organization as yours. True, we are much fewer in numbers than the black minority or the Mexican minority, but nevertheless, we daily suffer indignities within the community development program. It is in theory attempting to eradicate. Our neglect goes even deeper. Not one man or woman of Bohemian background has ever been employed by CDP, even though many families in Chapter 14 of the BOB are below the income level set by your organization as a criterion for hiring. Not a single Bohemian preschooler has been admitted to your Head Start program, nor has any real attempt been made to make our children feel welcome at your recreation centers. To favor any one minority group over another is to fail in your purposes. As I see it, your cooperation would be greatly appreciated in the next month when children are preparing to return to school. Bohemian children have often been the target of verbal ethnic slurs and vicious ethnic jokes. We all know how cruel children can be. Perhaps CDP could influence the educators of Hampshire to shoulder their duty and see that this kind of discrimination be put to a stop. Bohemians are going to be a part of this community for a long time and we want some development now. Sincerely, James E. Kolachi.
So this guy's like the president of what's BOB?
Benevolent Order of Bohemians.
That's like the Bohemian Church.
I don't know. So just a Bohemian group. Alright, well we can just keep going into it.
We're gonna finish this one.
I think same as the Christian mother, we should like write a letter back saying that we hire based on skills and rather than ethnic backgrounds or religions. But that we will look into
I think this part's important. That not a single preschooler. We should look into that more. See what that's about.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not something we should pay attention to because who cares?
Well, these people do. I mean, we're
So
based
what if
on...
they care? I mean, if you're saying we're hiring based on
this isn't
qualification,
No.
This
This
is
is for the
hiring.
preschool.
This
They
is
have a
administrative
preschool program,
preschoolers.
and we're not admitting these kids.
I thought you meant it for like the employer.
No.
No, I think that we again just write back saying we're gonna look into it more. Sorry for your,
Sorry for all the hardship.
I don't think we should say sorry to every single person in the
But-
world, you know? We're just like, sorry you had this, sorry you
Well,
had
that's
that.
how
But
a
then
business
that's-
runs. Is to just you say sorry for your experiences. We would like to work
We can go a
with
step
you
further
in
and
the
have this
future.
guy come in and
That's
speak to
what
our
I'm saying, yeah.
employees and tell them, he can tell them how to, better ways we can help.
These Bohemian kids.
So we can do like a seminar to our employees.
And maybe in the next board meeting or whatnot, we can, hey, maybe have an education thing about no bullying or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean that's a good head start at least.
yeah,
Just to get
and
the conversation going. Anything else?
So what we're doing is we're inviting this guy in and
I think he can tell us better what we can do to help than we would know.
mhm.
Just get some advice on how he wants help.
And we can make sure to look into the uneven preschool setup, and then remind him again that our hiring's off of qualifications.
Yep.
Okay. Do we want to do this last one real quick? Because I think we're supposed to do all of them.
Okay.
Alright. Dear Mr. Harris, I feel obligated to write to you concerning my niece, Miss Amelia May Dillon. One of your staff members, Eddie Daniels, who is one of the big shot directors there, has taken liberties with Miss Dillon, and now she finds herself going to have a baby.
Okay.
She has worked at the McGeorge Street Recreation Center for 5 months as table games assistant, and though she was in charge of those games, she ain't much more than a teenager herself. In fact, the same age as some of them. Is this the kind of man you are trusting teenagers with, who would take advantage of a young girl after the center was closed? I realize that it takes two, and Amelia was not innocent, but she said she loved him, and now him saying it was probably one of the boys who hang out there at Saturday night dances. Amelia has turned 19 and wouldn't be fooling around with those younger boys, even if some of them do look older. Mr. Harris, you are a colored man too, and you know that things ain't always easy for us, even when you can get a job mostly. Well, Amelia's mother's sick and can't work, and her husband is long since gone. If Amelia can't work with a baby coming, I don't know what they'll do, as there are 4 other children younger in the family. Lord knows I can't take them all in with my husband only getting unemployment money. Her mother would write to you, but I believe that something should be done. And right now about Eddie Daniels messing around with young girls. You should make it clear to him that he has to support that child. Yours truly.
It's probably the worst ones.
Well, I feel like we respond to him and say this is something we can't speak to him with directly.
but that happened
Obviously,
at our
personal-
event,
Yeah,
right?
but it's a personal matter, so we can't speak on behalf of her or him, whoever with our employee.
Right, we can't speak on behalf of Eddie, but we should speak
But we're
to
kind of
Eddie.
responsible for the event in some ways because it happened at our place. And
Yeah.
parents trust their kids and send us. Yeah, if we
Yeah, but
send
not
a write a
for
letter
19.
saying we're not responsible for this, tomorrow like if something
No, we're not saying we're not
happens during the
responsible.
event,
We don't say we're not responsible. We say we can't discuss personal matters about
Right.
Eddie to you.
Right.
Yeah, I think we should say we're gonna look into it.
Yeah.
Start an investigation as to whether it was ethical.
what about firing Eddie?
No.
Why not?
Well,
she's
Because
19.
you can't
Yeah.
fire Eddie until you know that there was some sort of sexual harassment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because
it's not like a minor.
yeah, she's not.
She's a
you
minor,
have to-
right?
She's
no,
19.
she's 19.
She's 19.
So I think that the best way to handle this would just be to respond back saying we we'll start an investigation as soon as possible to look into this matter.
Yeah.
Okay, say we found out that this guy did what he says he's doing. What are we gonna do about it?
Well, he
We'll cross
didn't
that
do.
bridge when we get there.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong.
She's
In
an employee
general.
too, she's not like a member of the recreation centre, so.
Yeah, in terms of what this was said, like he said he loved her, she said she loved him.
Yeah.
The question is whether or not there was sexual harassment and like any sort of if you don't have sex with me, you'll lose your job. Because if that happened, then
Yeah.
legal action needs to be taken.
Reciprocal.
Yep.
I agree.
So a letter back to these guys saying that, and then.
So
meet
what
with
about
Eddie Daniels.
her? Whoever writing the letter, they're saying you need to make sure that this guy supports the kid. How do we?
Well,
work
that's
that
how
out?
we meet.
We
That's
can't
what
we
they
can't
first
discuss that obviously.
Mhm.
That's not up to the employer.
So how would we respond?
We say we can't speak on behalf of Eddie and we can't speak about any personal matters about our employees.
But we'll be launching investigation.
Yeah. And then once we speak with Eddie, and we might want to speak with Amelia as well, and just get like both sides of the story, and then complete our investigation.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Cool.